Video is the fastest growing content marketing segment. So if you have trainings, tips, frequently asked questions that you're considering sharing to your audience, whether they're clients or you're trying to get them to become clients, consider adding video to your marketing mix. But all video is not created equally. In order to get the most views and the most impact from the content you're creating, there is a minimum professional standard that you need to follow when you're creating videos. And so today's show is going to be about those best practices on how to create good quality video. It's not going to be cinematic video, but it's going to be good quality video that you can use for your marketing. And not only that, is as part of these best practices, I'm going to actually share products and tools with you on what to use, so that you don't have to think about that. So you get to go shopping in the show notes.
Inkyma's Marketing Strategies is a podcast for small business owners hosted by Audrey Kirchner, co-founder and chief marketing strategist at Inkyma, helping you navigate the world of marketing so that you can market your business in the right way, see growth, and thrive regardless of the industry you're in. To learn more about Inkyma and what we do, ask a question, or schedule a marketing evaluation, go to the website Inkyma.com. That's INKYMA.com. Listen to the show on your podcast player of choice, the Inkyma website, or the Inkyma YouTube channel. Just search for Inkyma Marketing Strategies, and you'll find what you need.
Okay, little bit of housekeeping. If you've ever considered going back and checking out the show notes, this is the episode to do it. So go to the website, Inkyma.com, INKYMA.com. Go to this show, and in the show notes, I have put together an entire list of all the products and tools that I'm going to be sharing with you in the different sections today. And that way, if you decide that you need a piece of equipment, you can just go click on the link and purchase it and not have to worry about figuring all that out for yourself. And then a rough transcript of the entire audio is going to also be in the show notes. So before I get to the best practices, let's talk a little bit about why you should be adding video to your content marketing mix, because video is a little bit more intensive to create versus audio, even versus writing a blog article. And there's a reason why I'm recommending that you add video. So in episode 42, where I talked about digital advertising, I mentioned a couple of the following stats. One, YouTube has over 1 billion hours of video watched daily. That's a lot of screen time. And then to give you some additional stats about other platforms is TikTok has 50 million active users per day, which is good as well. And then specifically for this episode, this isn't in episode 42, I went through and I took a look at what YouTube Shorts is doing. If you're not sure what Shorts is, it's actually YouTube's version of TikTok. They have 15 billion daily active users now as of this recording, and I think it's going to keep growing. It's still in beta format. It's still in its first year. So hopefully I just grabbed your attention on why video is important, right? 1 billion hours of videos watched, 15 million active users on one platform, and 15 billion on another. Don't you want a piece of that awareness and that viewing? Sure you do. So now let's talk about creating that video and best practices, because quality, not content of a video, is usually what makes people leave before the video is done, before they get the full message. And that's why I'm focusing more about how you set everything up, the tools you're using, the products that you're using to create the video, than the actual content itself. And I may do another episode on content creation, especially if people write into me and say, hey, I really want that video on content creation, then I will actually create that for you. Okay, first and foremost, and honestly, if you only do one of these best practices, this very first one is the one that you want to do. You need to have crisp, clear audio. Right? It's the most important component. People will forgive flubs. They will forgive bad lighting. They will forgive rambling, but they don't tolerate bad audio. So bad audio comes in a couple different forms. When you're recording, that could be low volume, right? You can't really hear it. They got to jack the volume up really high. Background noise. So if there's traffic, kids, barking dogs, a low hum in the background, if there's a refrigerator nearby, or probably the worst, is that they can't understand what you're saying because your microphone's on the other side of the room, because you're using the microphone that's inside of your recording device. So if you're using an iPhone or even digital SLR cameras, they have microphones on them, but you can't use them. So to avoid bad audio, you need a professional microphone. Not an expensive microphone, but just a professional one. So here's a couple of options. You can do a boom mic, either next to you or in front of you, or above you if you want it off camera. Wireless earbuds with built-in mics. Wired earbuds. They now come pretty much standard with built-in microphones. Just make sure that microphone is close enough to your mouth. And then a lapel mic. They've been around for years, they've been around forever, and they're pretty inexpensive to use. All of these can either be connected directly to your recording device, your phone, the camera, whatever, or many of the options, you can do it via Bluetooth so that you don't have any cord. It really depends on your setup. So for boom mics, wireless, wired, lapel mics, in the show notes, there's a link to products that we actually use as well as what we recommend. And so the boom mic that's in there is a Yeti. I have a Yeti. You're listening to me on the Yeti right now. All right, so the next one, use plenty of light. Having a dark video is a little distracting, especially if you're trying to show someone something. It needs to be very well lit. And so if you're not a professional videographer, natural light is your best friend, right? It's always bright enough. You always look great in natural light. You don't have to worry about balancing it. So let's talk about some tips to use natural light, because that can even be used incorrectly. And I see it often. So the one thing you don't want to do when you're outdoors is to be standing in direct light. It's very harsh, right? Things look like they're blown out, or the highlights look really hot. You've heard that. Or it just looks like this glare on whatever it is that you have. Put yourself in the shade and just make sure that there's enough ambient light coming into that shade, and that's going to look really nice. And then also, depending on where the sun is at that time, don't put the light source behind you. You're going to look like you're in the witness protection program, and nobody likes that. Unless that's the look you're going for, then yeah, put it right behind you, black out your face, shadow your face, then you're all good. You either want the light on the side of you, left or right, doesn't matter, or directly in front of you, or somewhere along that frontal plane, so that the light is hitting your face and increasing the exposure on your face. But if it's too bright directly in front, then yeah, that's when you want to do side light. And then if you're in the shade, the two will balance out together. If you're indoors, similar practice. Side light from a window, a door, some type of a light source, or directly in front of you, not behind you. And then in the instances where you can't use natural light, maybe the room you're recording in doesn't have a window, or you have to do it at night, there are lighting packages that you can purchase and set up that are actually budget friendly. And those links are in the show notes, so that if you need to buy any external lighting, that you can. So now let's talk about your background. You want uncluttered, uninteresting background. A lot of times people think, ooh, I want a really interesting background. But the problem with an interesting background is people are looking at the background and they're not paying attention to you or what you're doing. It's like when you're following directions and you have to turn the radio down so you can concentrate more. We block out audio when we're visually focusing. So that's why having a simple, clean background is really going to be your best bet. Find a wall that's blank. That's good. Little light pattern, that's fine too. Actually, something that's blank or non-assuming, you can actually edit in your logo, and that'll be pretty cool because they'll look at that and it'll just be there. And the same thing, clutter's distracting. The other thing with clutter is it actually lessens your credibility. The viewer's looking at that going, they didn't even take the time to clean up their background. Why should I listen to what they have to say? So don't mess with your credibility, and certainly don't distract them with something else that is more visually appealing than you are. If you can't clean up a background, can't find something simple, consider getting a green screen background. There's links in the show notes. It's a pretty simple setup. It's that green screen backdrop that you can stand in front of, and then in post-production, you can add a background, white with your logo on it, all that good stuff. But again, keep it clean, not too interesting. So the next thing on my list is shaky footage. How many times have you tried watching a video where someone is holding the camera in their hand and it looks like they're bouncing around? That's kind of part of that whole distraction principle. If you're bouncing around, they're not listening to you because their eyes are trying to find a place to settle and fall and focus. So in this instance, a simple solution is a tripod. Put the camera, whether it's an iPhone or a SLR, any type of camera, make sure it's on a tripod. The nice thing about the tripod too is it makes it easier for you to do video creation when you're by yourself. You put it on a tripod, you stand in front of it, you can remote record, all that good stuff. A lot of content creators that you see like on TikTok, they use a 10-inch light ring. So they do the tripod light combo, right? Because with an iPhone, they come with an extender where you can attach your phone in the middle of the light ring so that where the light is in conjunction with the video is all at eye level and then you're lit perfectly. So there's a link in the show notes to the 10-inch light ring as well, in case you don't want to buy the traditional standard 2 lighting setup. Sometimes you'll need to do that if you're going to be further away and you need to have a bigger space lit. The 10-inch light ring is not going to cut that. So take a look at them and see which one you think is going to work better for you. Okay, so now let's talk about you and your on-camera presence. There's being petrified to be on video, and then maybe you being on the video is not the right thing to do. There's other options. I'll talk about those later. But if you feel like you could be on video and you just need a little practice, you want to make sure you do that, because if you feel nervous and unconfident, you're going to look nervous and unconfident. And that's not how you want to be perceived. You want to be perceived as a subject matter expert. And part of that is feeling confident, looking good, relaxed, saying the right things. And that's what people are going to resonate with your content and then also want to buy your products or take whatever you're offering. I think the biggest part of presence is how we're dressed. And so you want to be dressed in your professional attire for your marketing videos for your business, right? You don't want to be dressed like you do on the weekends. So when I say your professional attire, what I mean is if you're a lawyer, they're expecting to see you in a suit and tie, be in a suit and tie. Or if you want to do no tie, that's in this day and age, that's acceptable too. You don't want to show up in jeans and a t-shirt. If you're an electrician, your professional attire is a button down or a polo that has your logo on it so that you are easy to identify when you are on site at a customer's house or showing up at the front door. So being on camera that way is a great thing, right? You want them to expect what to see if they're going to hire you. So to feel confident, you have to believe what you're saying. So if you're a subject matter expert, you've got that covered. And most business owners are. But what I see many subject matter experts do is they dive too deep into a topic, or they use their industry jargon when they're talking to a potential client or a customer, and they're talking way over their head. You're the experts, we are not. So dumb down the language a little bit. Make it easy to understand. Keep it lighter, keep it shorter, keep it simpler. You don't want them to, one, feel stupid, and two, not understand what you're trying to say to them. Because if they don't understand, they are absolutely not going to buy. So be prepared and practice a little bit, right? Will go a long way in not feeling so nervous in front of a camera. And I reiterate practicing a little bit. You don't want to go through it 2 and 3 and 4 times before you get on camera, because you're going to lose a little bit of that spontaneity. 1, maybe twice, that's it. And then get on camera and do your thing. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get. I'm recording episode 52 right now, and I cringe to think about going back and listening to episode 1 because it was a new process for me. I've been doing public speaking for a long time, but this is my first podcast. So if you go back and listen to episode 1, you'll hear a difference in my flow, in what I'm saying, how I'm saying it, than you are for this episode. And that's just with doing it over and over again and just getting more and more comfortable and confident with how I'm portraying my message. Okay, so let's take the next step along that same path in getting comfortable and talk about planning your videos in advance. Don't set up your camera and lighting and all that good stuff, hit record, and then think about what you're going to say. You want to plan it in advance. So what I recommend first is creating an outline, what you want to say, and the order in which you want to address everything, because the logical order makes it simpler for people to follow. That's what I do for every single episode. I create a nice little outline. I know my content. I want it to be conversational, so I don't script everything out, but at least I know I'm hitting all my points in the right order. I practice it once, and then I go ahead and record it. So for video, the other thing you want to do in preparation is to scope out the location if you're not going to be recording all your videos in the same place. See how busy it is. The last thing you want are people walking behind you or near you where they come on camera, if at all possible. And then check to see how noisy it is, right? Because that noise is going to be distracting and very difficult for you to pull out of the video later on. When you're first starting out, I really don't recommend you typing or writing everything that you're trying to say out verbatim and then just reading it, even if you're a good reader. When you're on video, it is extremely difficult to use a teleprompter, which is what you're going to need to do this, because if you're constantly looking down and then looking back up at the camera to read your script, that just obliterates your credibility. You want to be easy, off the cuff, conversational. Teleprompters take time to master. So after you've done a few and you really want to try the teleprompter, get all the necessary things for it and test it out and rewatch it and make sure it's the right level of eye contact in the right place in order for you to be able to convey your message properly. So now let's talk about editing. Any professional video is edited. Even if your content is all good and you're not making a lot of changes, the lighting, you want to add things like intros, outros, maybe a little bit of music to the video, just to give it a little polish. You might take out some extra words and some footage that you don't need. Maybe you're transitioning from one place to the other, or you're going to grab something, people to see that part of it, flubs, all that stuff. You just want to clean everything up. And this is where robust, easy to use video editing software comes in. There are links to 2 or 3 in the show notes because I've already figured out all the products and put links in there. But the one that we use and that I really like is Camtasia. Okay, so now that you have a beautiful professional video that you are happy with, you got to use it, right? It's content marketing. You got to promote it. And so you need to share it. So if you're doing content marketing videos, you need to have a YouTube channel. Post your video up on YouTube, and that way you can share it via the YouTube link in different places. Your website. You don't want to host your own video on your website. Most website hosting servers are not optimized for video like YouTube is. And you can actually put them in frame and actually have them play from your website, even though it's linked out to YouTube. And that's like the perfect way to do it. The other thing is email platforms like MailChimp and Constant Contact. Those are the 2 that we partner with and like to use the most, is that they actually have a block in the newsletter creation for video. And you simply put in the YouTube link, and then it automatically pulls in the screen and makes it look really nice. And then when you click on it, it goes out to play. So you don't have to do coding or anything like that. Now for platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, they want to compete with YouTube. So they prefer that you upload the videos to them directly. And I encourage that because that enables specific features that you won't get if all you're doing is adding a link from YouTube. Things like autoplay when it's in someone's feed, and then other platform features that they have, like adding it to Reels, to stories. For Facebook, they have their own version of all of that. So you're going to have to upload it in multiple places, but it's definitely worth it. And remember, I talked about YouTube Shorts earlier. So with YouTube Shorts, again, under a minute, vertical, when you upload it, it'll actually post it to your direct YouTube channel and to Shorts. And because Shorts is so new, YouTube is actually giving it a higher priority than just a traditional YouTube video. If your original video, all edited up and everything, is longer than a minute, I do suggest you go back in and create a less than 1 minute version that kind of highlights what the full version is about and then link to it. So that way you get more awareness and then you might get more traffic to the longer format video as well. There is a great tool that we use called TubeBuddy. Link is in the show notes. And what this does is it embeds itself into your YouTube channel and helps you figure out the right tags and keywords for your video so that you can rank better in search. Because YouTube is a Google product, YouTube videos get priority in search. And if you tag and keyword them correctly, they're going to come up in a normal search more so than any other type of video out there. And then TubeBuddy's also going to make sure that you've set things up, and they've got all these different great features. So definitely go check them out. I really enjoy using that. And then what's nice is you create them all there, and then you can just copy and paste the tags and the keywords into your Facebook, your LinkedIn, Instagram videos, TikTok, wherever as well, so that you're making sure that your keywords are the same everywhere that video is posted. So hopefully I've gotten you more excited about creating videos, and with these products, you can purchase them, get set up, and do it relatively simply. So now let's talk about the next steps, the action steps that you need to take in order to start producing video or producing better video for your business. Number one is based on your marketing strategy. Decide the type of content you want to create. You can have different types. If you're brand new to this, start with one and then ask yourself the question, do you need content that's going to educate potential clients on how to use your products? What are the specific details or the differentiators of your services from someone else? If this feels a little bit too hard to figure out, then you can simply start with frequently asked question videos, meaning say the question that you get from people a lot and then answer it in the video. These are great places to start because not only can you share it with people when they ask the question and they get to see your videos and to see your channels, it also becomes searchable on Google as well, where they may find you independent of actually knowing you, which is pretty cool. So step two, once you've decided the type of video you want to create, decide how you want to convey that message. Do you want to be on screen? Do you want to be the person talking? Do you want to use whiteboards? Do you want to just do cartoons or animations with voiceover or text on the screen? All of these are perfectly legitimate forms of videos. You don't have to be on camera, especially as I talked about earlier. If you're petrified of being on camera, then don't do it because you're never going to come across as confident, not without a whole lot of work. Maybe there's someone in your organization that's a lot more comfortable than you are and that you're happy to let them be the visual spokesperson in your videos. That works too. And then number three, get the right equipment to do the job. Go into the show notes and look through everything you need, purchase what you need, get it in-house, figure it out so that once you outline that first video, you're ready to go. Follow all the tips and get it recorded. And just remember, it's your first video, right? Every time you do another one, you're going to get better and better and better. So just keep doing them. So here are some final thoughts for you. Once you get this process down, the most time-consuming part of video creation is the editing of the video. So if you're going to outsource any piece of this, I recommend outsourcing the editing of the video. If you get the right equipment and follow these best practices and you record, a professional is going to edit it down and it's going to look fantastic. And we do that for our clients all the time. They do the recording because they're the subject matter experts. We want them on screen. And then we edit it up and we polish it and post it so that it goes out and gets watched and viewed. So here at Inkyma, we like to give back to the business community. I provide a free 45-minute consultation to any business owners, regardless if you're looking for a marketing company or not. Maybe you just want to dive a little deeper into some of these practices or ask me a question about the products that we're recommending. I'm totally fine with doing that. Or if you just need a little encouragement, we can have that session too. Just go to the website, Inkyma.com, Inkyma.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a button to schedule a marketing evaluation. Just click on it, pick your time, and we are on the calendar together. If you have just a simple question or you want to recommend a topic for the show, I would love to hear it. Just go down to the footer, there's a contact form there, fill it out, and it comes right to me. So I hope you found this episode helpful and enlightening. If so, please share it with other business owners because I guarantee you, if you have questions about this or products that you don't know what to buy, so do they, right? This episode was created because I had a business owner friend of mine that was doing video and they just didn't know what to do. And I was like, let me write that up for you. And then I was like, I'm going to make this into an episode. So please share. It lifts us all up. It allows all of our businesses to grow and thrive. Thanks for listening and have an amazing day.